AcroHillUp.com. It's your boy Cat Israel with Yes We Can.
What up, Cat Israel?
Yo,
Hey, man, we ain't seen you in a minute, man. Hey, where you been, son?
I've been working out, know what I'm saying?
I
A little
see
bit
you.
under the weather, but I'm back now a little bit.
I got to see you back, suited and booted. What's we talking about today, bro?
We're going to talk about the environment. July 30th, 2014. It was a big moment for me. About a couple of weeks before that event, I was in contact with President Barack Obama. He had contacted me, and during those 2 weeks, he contacted our team to have a big mission that we had to go to in Pittsburgh, home of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm a Steelers fan, and I had to put that out there a little bit. So it was unique that, my coming out party, politics was in Pittsburgh. That was kind of unique. Now, we had to meet at let me find it real quick, the August Wilson African American Cultural Center. It was pretty much like an African American art gallery. We was there for the EPA hearings, the Environmental Protection Agency hearings, about the President Barack Obama's Clean Power Plan, which basically, in a nutshell, trying to have a cleaner earth as far as the United States goes and local communities, clean up the community a little bit, help emissions, so we can get rid of that fog and that dirty water and dirty lands and clean up a little bit. So that particular day was pretty interesting. Me, my father, and a couple other people out of Cleveland, we had to call a charter bus going to Pittsburgh so we could listen to the EPA hearings and testify in the EPA hearings. My particular mission was basically to testify at the EPA hearings and be at the, we had a little protest after the hearings too. But before that, we had an event at the African American Cultural Center, which the mayor, let me look his name up so I can get it right. I like to be accurate.
Ain't nothing wrong with being there.
His name is Mayor Bill P. Duto. Him and a couple EPA representatives had spoken at the African American Cultural Center about cleaner emissions, about particularly in Pittsburgh, cleaning up the water in Three Rivers. If you're familiar with Pittsburgh, the old Three Rivers Stadium, I had to put that out there too. And cleaner environments, help eliminate carbons, clear the coal industry too. Now, we got a lot of slack from that because a lot of coal workers in that area, the Pittsburgh, West Virginia, I think parts of New York too, if I remember right, they do a lot of coal mining in that area. It's big business, like Kentucky, real big business. So you have thousands of workers that rely on the coal mining business to make a living, which I don't knock it, but that wasn't really my particular mission. Now, there was a lot of people there testifying at the hearing. So when we left the African American Museum, we went to the Pittsburgh Federal Building, which was basically my time to shine, if you could say. President Obama wanted me to say a couple things. Now I put my own words to it, and I included the city of Akron to help emissions in Akron, like clean the water here, help with our water and sewer bills, clean up the trash on the highways and the main streets and main roads, and try to acquire federal grants so we can create new jobs in the city of Akron. That's why I testified about in the federal building. I think my testimony lasted about 45 seconds to a minute. There's a lot of people there. We was in an enclosed room with no windows. You had like a panel in front of us. I think like 5 people. You had to stand up and go to the microphone and pretty much speak your piece. It was a very interesting event because I saw a lot of people that was inspired by having a cleaner earth. And they had the counterpointers there too, the people who wanted to expand the coal industry, which I don't knock it, more power to you, But for me, I had to think about the city of Akron when I did my testimony, in particular with Summit Lake. I wanted to clean up Summit Lake and create businesses or business district around Summit Lake area, or even like amusement park or what have you. I know the city of Akron have a unique water system too, which is pretty cleaner than the average city in Ohio in particular. We have a lot of fracking in the state of Ohio. If you don't know what fracking is, it's just pretty much digging for oil and a lot of elements that can actually poison our land as we're digging this oil. So we want to find better ways to extract the oil out of our land without doing damage to our communities and to the people who live in major cities in the state of Ohio. So you had a lot of unions there with the coal miners that kind of protested at the event. And this is where it gets fun. When I got done with my testimony, I had to go outside and protest, the coal miners' position of the issue. At that time, it was me, I'd say about 100 people that was standing outside of the federal building, which the federal building and the African American Cultural Center was literally across the street from each other. So we had to go far. I was holding my sign, doing my thing. I had a Carolina blue necktie that I was told to wear by President Obama himself. That was so dope. Right before I went up there. So as we was protesting, we had heard a noise, like a loud, chant. And I was like, man, what's that noise I'm hearing? Sure enough, we see some coal union workers come around the corner from the federal building, highly agitated. I mean, they was angry. It was like they was about to tear it up a little bit. And that was the first time I ever been in an area or an event where the opposition was extremely hostile. I mean, you had posters and little blow up dolls. You know how they when they go through the what they call it, almost like a parade in a sense, where they have big balloons and stuff like that. We had a lot of Obama memorabilia, where it's like they had them hanging from a noose, saying a lot of hostile and bad things towards the president of the United States at the time, which was Barack Obama. In my opinion, I think they did it because he was African American. That's just me, but which I don't think was fair on him, because usually when you deal with issues, or whether you're for the issue or against the issue, you always want to attack the issue and not the person. I felt some kind of way about them presenting the president in that light. I didn't think that was fair for the President Obama to receive such scrutiny. But back to the event, as they was passing by us, I say it was over 5,000 counter protesters that was walking down the street, and it was a lady, I never forget it, a young lady behind me. We was doing her chants and stuff, and she was saying something towards the counter protesters. I don't remember exactly what it was, but a lot of them was getting hostile towards her. So it was a barrier in between us and the counter protesters, and it was a few guys, I say about 3 or 4 guys, that started to break the barrier to attack the lady that was right beside me. And I had did something that it was out of reflex. But I ended up stepping in front of her, in between her and the counter protesters, so they wouldn't trample her, run her over and attack her. And the scary part about it was, as I was stepping in front of her, I seen the counter protesters come in a funnel towards breaking the barrier. And if they would have completely broke the barrier, we pretty much would have got ran over and attacked, and we would have been in real trouble. And I had to dig deep within myself and really stand up, because I felt I was going to probably die at that moment. But I made the decision to do it anyway. And the counter protesters was actually in shock when I stepped in front of them. So much so that they actually backed up off the barrier and they kept on protesting. And, a little bit of moments after that, it kind of sunk in that, hey, I could have actually got ran over, beat up, stabbed, and, God knows what else. A lot of the counter protesters did get arrested after that, too. So, shout out to the city of Pittsburgh for helping protecting us in the United States Federal Service. But that was a unique event. When we got back on the bus, a lot of people on the bus that didn't talk to us earlier that morning, they was really proud of us, of actually representing the clean power plant like that, and stepping in and protecting our protesters. I don't want a medal for it. I really did it for the city of Akron to help create jobs in the city, particularly environmental jobs. So that's pretty much it about that event. What I took upon it is that environment wasn't really my big thing. I just wanted to show Organized for Action that I can do more than just gun violence prevention. And I learned a lot about the environment that day. And as we go on to the vlogs, we're going to get into more of the environment part, the environment aspect of what I did for Organized for Action. So until then, it's your boy Cat Israel. But yes, we can. We out of here.